No matter where in the world you are joining us, we welcome you to the Wrestling Compadres Slamcast right here on Fox Sports. If you're listening or watching for the first time, find us on Twitter and Instagram at Fox Compadres, Facebook.com/Fox Compadres, and of course, we drop a new episode every single Wednesday on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. But right now, we have an incredible special episode for you with two of the biggest names we could ever ask for. Fresh off the United Kingdom Championship Tournament, we have Triple H and Nigel McGuinness. But before that, my name is Jonny Loquasto. Find me on Twitter at jquasto. The lady next to me, she's a host here at Fox Sports. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Carrlyn Bathe because she's none other than Carrlyn Bathe.
Hey, Johnny, how's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Great to hear.
Big Show. Next to her, he is wearing...
Big Show?
No, he's not coming in.
Oh, all right.
He's lost a lot of weight, though. He looks great.
We got two bigger guests than Big Show.
We do. And you are wearing an XFL jersey. You can find him on Twitter at Scott Narver. He's the host of Curtain Jerks and maybe involved with youtube.com/OnYourMarkShow. He's the artist known as Scott Narver.
Oh, I'm an artist now, am I?
Yes, you are.
Does the jersey make that happen?
It makes you look like just almost like a Van Gogh, if you will.
Oh, I love Van Gogh. Tommy Maddox is what I am.
And fresh off his trip to Japan for Wrestle Kingdom 11, and then he also went to the UK tournament, sat down with Triple H and Nigel McGuinness. Find him on Twitter at TheWalkingDale. He's our friend and compadre, Dale Rutledge.
What's up, y'all? I'm back.
You look well-rested, dude.
Yeah, I think I finally got one night's full sleep, so I am ready to get at it.
Congratulations on that. So you sat down with Triple H and Nigel. We've been friends with Nigel for a long time, and it's just an amazing story. We're so incredibly happy for him. But what was it like sitting down with Triple H?
Oh, man, I got to say it was quite an honor, and I didn't know exactly what to expect because I was a little intimidated and nervous going into it. But he gave us some breaking news that we had on Wednesday's show about the women's tournament coming this summer and his feelings on intergender wrestling, which I was actually very interested to hear. But he was very chill and laid back and just talked to me like, old chums. So I really appreciated that.
And not to mention a special message for Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah. You'll hear that later in the interview, but it was overall a great interview, and getting to speak to Nigel is always a good time. So it was just an awesome trip all the way around.
Absolutely. Well, without further ado, what do you say, gang? Let's get to it?
Yeah, please.
All right. Enjoy Dale sitting down with Triple H, followed by Nigel McGuinness, and we'll be right back.
All right, guys, we are with the Executive VP of Talent of Live Events and Creative, the 14-time champion and an all-around legend, Triple H. How's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty great.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having time in your schedule.
If you're not off during the interview, I'll understand. Coming from Japan, I'll gently wake you, and we can continue.
It's very kind of you. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Are you ready is a question that I think you've asked a time or two.
Yeah, now and then I ask that question. I'm ready. And I can tell you, having been here all day yesterday, being around these kids from the UK that are going to be in this tournament, they are ready.
Yeah.
The energy, the excitement, the nervousness.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's very clear just stepping into the room with these guys without a word being said that these guys are all in a position where this is the opportunity of their life, and they want to knock it out of the park, and there's so much riding on it that if their success in this can I guess in some ways, if you want to look at it that way, and make your life
Change your trajectory for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I've heard it said before in our industry by a different independent promoter that he said, I would never limit somebody's opportunity to come to the WWE because it would be criminal. It's coming to the WWE takes care of your future, your kids' future, and their grandkids' future, right? And in some ways, if you are successful, that is the case.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. It's a lot when you look at a kid like Tyler Bate, he's 19 years old.
Right. Are you ready to take care of your grandchildren?
Yeah.
Perform well.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. Wherever they may be on your body at this time.
Yeah. So are UK ready? The answer is yes on that regard too.
Yeah, and again, from just being in London and being here, every place I've been, that's all anybody's talking about right now is this tournament, and it's on the news. It's everywhere you go. You sit in the bar here at night or in the lounge here at night, and it's on TV, and everybody's watching it, and it's big.
It's always been kind of your home away from home, though, here in the UK, don't you feel?
I think so. I feel like the UK is kind of our second home. I know for me, it's always been one of my favorite places to come perform. Just the fan base is so excited and rowdy and crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those places where you don't have to draw it out of them.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're already giving it to you walking in the door. They're just so excited, and that's the kind of the wish if you're a performer is it's the dream gig, and they definitely that's definitely here, and with everything, and I think for something like this, it's a little less polished, a little grittier. It's hometown. It's like they're just going to be rabid.
Blackpool is kind of described as that as well.
Blackpool, we did NXT here last year, and I was not at the event.
Oh, okay.
But everybody that was here has said it was the craziest, loudest, most intense event by far that they had ever been to, period. And that was some, people that have been to Manias, and at one point I think they chanted or sang the American Alpha song for like 5 straight minutes nonstop. Like they were timing them backstage.
I talked to them. They actually mentioned this very specifically. Like they felt like they made it.
Yeah. And in some ways, with this UK Championship tournament, we have so many great competitors in it. From the UK, Trent Seven, Wolfgang, Pete Dunne, Joe Connors, Mark Andrews. Like, there's just so many guys that are great, and I don't want to name them all because I'll miss a bunch. But the truth is, as much as I hope those guys become household names in some way and become big stars globally, like I almost feel like the star tonight and tomorrow is going to be just the UK. Like, just is going to be Blackpool. It's going to be, and I'm not talking about them, people complain sometimes. I'm not talking about them hijacking the show.
Right.
I'm just talking about them being crazy into it to the degree that, like, the electricity comes through your TV and hits you at home, and you just can't help but go, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing ever, right? Because they're just that intense. And I feel like that's what I'm looking forward to anyways. No pressure, UK.
Yeah, do as you must.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say NXT couldn't be a better success story. I think CWC, too, was one of my personal favorites of all of last year as far as events go. Where do you look for inspiration on what to do next or how best to fulfill a need for the WWE like this?
I guess in some way, Vince instilled in me a long time ago, like he used to say all the time, if you just put yourself in the seat, you can never go wrong, right? And you're a fan, and if you do it in that sense, and I feel like for me, I've never lost that fan perspective of it, just because that's what I am at the end of the day. I love this business. I love watching it. There's very few times if somebody walks up to me, I don't care who it is, and says, hey, watch this, and it's something to do with our business, like where I will look at them and go like, hey, dude, I'm wrestled out right now. I need
that's good to hear.
I need to watch something else for 5 minutes. I love it. And so I just approach all of it to me like I'm that 10-year-old kid sitting on my couch on Saturday morning, and I looked at it. I had been really excited. Like with the cruiserweights, I had been excited about doing that. It had been something I'd been nagging about for 5 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and just that there was this, especially when I took over and started with recruiting and talent development and that process, because I would look at the globe and I would go, God, there's these amazing guys out there that are, we look at and just go, yeah, but he's, $185, right? And but all right, but if you put him in the ring with another kid, $185, you can't tell. And they go and they tear the joint up, and it's awesome. And there's these amazing talent. There was this massive pool of them out there, and I was like, we're missing the boat and not giving these kids the platform and working with them. So it was that NXT was the desire to fill the void underneath WWE and to give our hardest core fans look, there's things that when I watch WWE, I wish we would do this more. I wish we would do that. I wish we would change this, because it's, for me as a fan, I would see it differently.
Right.
So I went down that road, and that worked with NXT, and then the cruiserweight thing. When NXT success hit, and to back up, the network makes all this possible. Without it, and without that platform, none of this happens, right? So the network gave, as I knew all that was coming and strategically started it, to train and develop talent, you need a place for them to go work, because without doing this in front of crowds and getting the reps doing it, it's useless.
How could it even happen?
Yeah, so you need that. You need the show and the place for them to go do it. And you needed to create something that people would want to watch, so people would actually show up to these shows and want to see them perform, right? So we created NXT, and the network was able to distribute it, and it became wildly popular, and that opened the door of Vince going like, it's that cruiserweight thing you always keep talking about, right? And then we opened that door, and the cruiserweight thing happens, and then he's like, what else could you do it with? I'm like, I could do it in the UK.
You're like, I have this list.
Yeah. Let me roll out this scroll here that goes to the end of the room. So that was that was just the start of these thoughts, and globally kind of expanding and branching out and being able to reach into these pockets and areas that we don't always get to. I think it's been the biggest complaint of the UK for WWE is we're just not here enough.
Yeah, they want more.
Right? Yeah, they want more, and we're here on occasion, and they dig that. But look, they'd love for us to be here doing pay-per-views and Mania and all that stuff. It's logistically unbelievably difficult, and
Mania is half Brits. I feel I run into a lot of UK fans.
Yeah.
every WrestleMania, whether it's West Coast, East Coast.
It is, and luckily they're all cool traveling.
Yeah,
yeah. But it's hard, and it's a difficult proposition. Booking a global touring entity that does 500 events a year is not easy, and the
setup for WrestleMania. I mean, all that gear or whatever,
and it's not you just run in, do an event, leave, right? It's you come in, it's a week of events. Like, we're planning for WrestleMania next year and the year after already.
Yeah.
It's massive to do that from another country. It's crazy how hard it is, but to be able to do other things here and connect the pieces and deliver more.
Yeah. Now the CWC was well received online, I thought, but the Raw crowd, they were a bit slow to warm up to the cruiserweights once they got there, it felt. Was 205 Live a reaction to that, or was that something that you were always planning to kind of do?
So I always felt like them having their own show could be great.
Yeah.
But also there's a ton of there's a ton of pressure on that 3-hour Raw.
I would imagine, yeah.
And I cannot express how incredibly difficult the third hour is. It exponentially just is very difficult.
Who else does 3 hours of TV in a
live?
Live.
It's hard to sit through a 3-hour movie.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
I don't care how good it is. At 2.5, I'm looking at my watch going, I got to go to the bathroom.
You're like, they should have brought snacks.
Yeah, but it's hard to say, like, well, if you did the cruiserweight thing, you just have the network fans to go to 205 Live if that was the show that you created. Are you better sticking them on Raw and letting more people get accustomed to them and see what they are, and at least be interested in the 205 Live show as the feeder?
Yep.
And I agree, it's hard to argue that philosophy, right? So, it is what it is. The difficulty sometimes with Raw is, and the cruiserweights, is these are guys that sometimes need 20 minutes to do what they do.
Yeah,
and
that second round of the CWC is where a lot of magic was coming out of. Longer
and you know that, right? Like the first round of that tournament, 15 minutes, and then they expand, and these performers that can go longer, where they're going to tear it up is when you can emotionally invest in that long story.
Yeah.
I think it's that way for anything, but you're handcuffed and shackled with commercial responsibility and everything else, and that's the reality of it. So, but you expose them. I think there are people they don't know. I think when you look at Raw and SmackDown, it's the general population, not just hardcore fans that are and just into the action.
It's such a wide spray of demo too.
And to me, it's in a little bit like the niche band that like is selling out arena, little theaters and everything, and they're selling out, they're killing it. Everybody goes, "My God, these guys are going to be the biggest band ever!" And then they go to do their first arena, and it's like half full, and they're, fine. I thought it would do better, and like people don't know them yet.
Yep.
And you got to get that mainstream play. You got to get on the radio if that even exists anymore. And you got to
radio.
Yeah, you got to get on YouTube or something. Like I don't know what the deal is, but and that's kind of the thing, right? You got to get that general recognition out there. And when you get that, then you can do anything. But people got to get that general recognition. You know, you look at a guy, it's easy for them to understand Jack Gallagher. He's entertaining from the moment his music hits. And he gets a big reaction because of it, right? So
Rich Swann too. Is
yeah. And you see those, but I think the guys that not to take anything away from Rich or from Jack, but I think also the guys that now are more performance based solely and have a little bit less persona and charisma walking out the chute, they're going to take a little time, but they're also going to get over. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in it might take you a little bit of time to get over, but if you have that skill and ability, when you do, it sticks.
Now, I love Stephanie McMahon, platonically, of course.
Yes.
Last on the show, she mentioned an idea for the women's talent that you were working on. Has there been any further development on that?
Yeah, so that's another one of my big kind of passions to go do that is the women's tournament. And we're down the road a bit of the harder thing now is, you know, in a changing landscape. I feel like sometimes in WWE, like, you know, Tuesday I'm like, okay, so this is where we're going, right? No changing it? Yes. On Wednesday morning, you get the call like, we're not doing that anymore.
By the way, totally changing it.
Yeah, we're going this way now. Like, so, you know, you look at the landscape and how much it's changed in the last year. NXT takeovers now are attached to Big Four pay-per-views. The Raw and SmackDown have split brands and have pay-per-views of their own, you know, but there's more pay-per-views. And when you look at the big calendar of where do you stick an event, that's changed. And you have to look for the space where you go like, do it here. No, that's not good. You got a holiday and this and right? So it's really just been a process with the women of us finding the right time and space. This one worked out great with the little gap before Rumble here to fit this tournament in and doing it at a shorter time frame and doing it live. The women we're going to do probably this summer.
Okay, great.
Is what I'm hoping. And you know, a lot of women performers just went, whoa, when I said that, but like that's the plan anyways. And you know, again, much like cruisers, is to go scour the globe and maybe find the girls that are out there doing this that no one's heard of, that no one has seen, that are like these diamonds waiting, you know, and bring them up and let's see what they can do and entertain people with the tournament and let them be exposed to these new talent, and at the same time just massively increase the opportunity and the talent pool for us, you know, and for everyone, really.
Something that's been big on the indies lately has been a lot of intergender matches. You guys haven't really done too terribly much. I mean, obviously some famous ones from China, but what is your feelings on that kind of stuff?
So I believe in the mainstream world that, like, you know, competitively, I believe, like, it's very exciting when women are strong enough to take down the guy. I don't know that the world is ready yet to see the guy kicking the crap out of the woman in the match.
It does get tricky there.
Yeah, and I feel like while that is maybe works on a smaller level in some other places, I don't know that ever works for WWE. And to be quite honest, I see the shock entertainment value of it, but to me, that's all it is. There's a reason why the women don't compete with the men in the UFC. There's a reason why they don't put female boxers in the ring with male boxers. You know, there's also a reason why, you know, in combat sports there are weight divisions, and to me, which is 205 Live, and giving guys the ability to thrive in the environment they live in, because at some point it is tough to stick Jack Gallagher in the ring with Braun Strowman. You know what I mean?
Maybe not for Braun, but
not for Braun, but it is. There's almost a gap of reality there where you go like, I don't know that I can stretch my imagination quite this far unless he has a weapon, or you know. And I think that's where it becomes difficult. And same for women. You buy it to a degree, you know. And you might be excited that the woman is doing well for a minute, and then the guy punches her in the face, and you're like, "Oh,
You're like,
God,
this is
why am I watching this?
unenjoyable."
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable, and it's so I don't see it working. But to me, it's not needed, man. The shock value is not needed. Let women be the athletes that they are.
Yep.
They're trained, they're good, they're amazing athletes and amazing performers. Let them go in the ring with each other and show the world what they do in a platform that I think we've shown it. In NXT, and we've shown it, to a different degree, but we've shown it on the main roster that when done well, it's every bit as exciting, and fans will be every bit as passionate about the women.
Yeah.
And, look, and the world has changed. Ronda Rousey has changed that,
Absolutely.
There are women athletes across all sports now that are as big of stars as the men.
Yeah. 2016 saw the addition of many well-known Japanese talent to the WWE, and the signing of several Chinese talent recently. Just the other day too. Are you headed to an Asian-based tournament or some kind of show? Are you building it for a specific thing, or is it just to broaden your global appeal overall?
No, it's funny. Sometimes somebody will say like, "Oh, he picked up a lot of Japanese guys," and I'm like, "Did we?" Like I don't see it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's just me. I just look at the talent, and I don't really care. And there's difficulties. I get it. Like when you take a talent that can't speak English, it's tough in the U.S. and it's tough in the U.K. and they need to work on that. Right? It's one of the things I'm like. We might as well just invest in a language arts school because I have so many talent that I'm trying to teach English. That's even some of the guys from the U.S. But I don't see it, and for me, I see somebody that I watch them work. I watch what they do. Even sometimes I've seen Nakamura or guys cut promos or Asuka where it's in Japanese. I have no idea what she said. None. And I'm intrigued.
Right.
It's not what you say. It's how you say it, the passion with which you say it, and I watch it and I'm like, oh, yeah, she's money. I want her. Or, ooh, look at him. Like, that's just good, and it's just talent to me. Talent. When talent are talented and they've got charisma, no matter what language, no matter what nationality, no matter what color, no matter anything else, it doesn't matter. Those are people I want to work with if they want to work with us. WWE is not for everybody, but if it is, you want to come work for us, you want to take the chance to jump into the ocean and swim with the sharks, come on, man. If you're talented, I want you.
That's good to hear, actually. There was lots of praise for, speaking of which, Wrestle Kingdom 11 from WWE Superstars online. Is that something that was encouraged or discussed internally, or is it fine for them to just love what they love and put it out there?
Yeah, I think it's fine for them to look if they're like, if they're fans, and that's the reason why they're in the business, then I would think they would appreciate something that's good.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. I think that when something like that is well received, it pushes our guys to be better. Mm-hmm. I know NXT pushed the main roster to be better.
Oh, I bet.
Hard.
Uh-huh.
They're
coming for our spots.
Look, it's funny at WrestleMania last year. I'm in the room with the NXT guys, and I'm like, look, I want tomorrow. I want you guys to get done tonight and go follow that. Good luck. And I'm one of those guys that has to follow that. So I'm telling you, go kick our ass, man. This is what you do. And if we can't follow, we shouldn't be in the spot. I used to. It's a good music reference, but Ozzy used to always impressed me that Ozzy would always put these bands on tour with him, and he'd always break these amazing bands, Motley Crue, Metallica, these amazing bands played with Ozzy. And I saw an interview with him once where he said, they asked him about it, and he said, basically, I just want a great band. I want to give my fans the best show possible, so I want a great band to open up for me. If I can't follow them, that's my problem. Right? And that's the truth. So to me, all these other places, they push us to be better. And they push us to be better. And if there's great talent there that are interested in coming to the WWE, you know, I always laugh when anybody will say, "Oh, they're rating talent." I'm not rating anything. In order to get a talent, they have to want to come here.
Yeah.
You know, so look, I look out there and I go like, boy, this guy's really good. And then next thing you know, he's putting out feelers that he's interested in coming in. And then we ask, and hey, my contract's up. Mm-hmm. You want to come in? Here's what we could do. Then it's up to them, you know.
So over under on Kenny Omega coming to WWE then?
That's up to Kenny Omega. You know, it's fun. I said in an interview yesterday, blew up on the internet, that I said I want talent. I'm interested in anybody talent I'm interested in. And now Kenny Omega signed with WWE. That's what I said.
Amazing how that happens.
Yeah, no, that's not what I said at all. I said I'm interested in talent. Anybody that's talented. Kenny Omega is very talented.
Very talented dude.
Will Ospreay is very talented.
Oh,
Ricochet, very talented. There's a lot of talented guys out there that don't work for WWE. Right? But when they want to come here, when they want to, I have all the respect in the world. There's a few guys out there that I've had conversations with, and they come back to us and go, well, you know what, I'm not ready for WWE. I don't feel like I'm good enough. And I'm happy that you're interested, but I don't feel like I'm there yet.
It's pretty admirable, I think.
Yeah, but that happened to me early in my career. I had a conversation with Pat Patterson, and I knew the WWE would WWF at the time would gobble me up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I went to WCW. Uh-huh. It's where I learned to do television in its basic form, right? I had never been on TV. I'd never worked a camera. I didn't even do interviews. I just worked the indies, right? Mm-hmm. So when talent can look at themselves objectively and say, man, I appreciate you feeling that I'm good enough, but I don't believe that I am yet, and I'd like to take another year to go do these things that I'm doing and get all this different experience globally. And man, is it okay if I call you in a year? Because when my contract's done next year, I'd love to come in, or you know, whatever that is. That's awesome. And when the time's right for them to want to jump in and test the water with us, if they're down and the doors open.
Nice. So have you booked Joel Embiid to win the Royal Rumble yet, or is that coming?
Say what was that?
Joel Embiid?
Oh. No, awesome, I don't know if he's coming or not. It's very cool though. It's like a little interesting.
Him doing your entrance really cracked me up. It
was very, very cool. Yeah, it's funny is it was so late last night. Like right about when it happened, it's like trying to think if it had taken place right before. Like I was just trying to go to sleep. Like I hadn't slept in like 48 hours with the schedule getting here.
I'm sure.
And like I was laying down, all of a sudden my phone was like, bzz, 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 bzz. And I'm like, what is going on?
Something's happening.
Yeah, and I look at my phone and it was, he had just done it, and like everything was lighting up. You know,
that's awesome.
So if I'm tired today, it's his fault.
Okay, all right, I'll blame him. As a WWE fan, if I want to know, if I want you to know who my favorite superstar is on the roster, or who I want to be pushed, what is it that you guys look at? Like, is it like, should I buy a DIY T-shirt, or do I follow Jack Gallagher on Twitter? Like, how do I get, as a fan, my message to you? Like, hey, I love this dude or this female talent. Like, who is it that? What do you guys look at to get a pulse on the fans?
I think all of it.
All of it.
Yeah, there's not one indicator where you go, oh, he sold a T-shirt. Let's get him. you know what I mean? Let's go and get behind him. I think it's all of it. It's interaction, and interaction on every form. It's social media. It's how do they interact with our fans? How do they do when they do appearances? Do a lot of people come to their appearances? Do a lot of people show up to their signings or things that they do? Do they get a big reaction in the arena, whether positively or negatively?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. People have lost perspective of loud is a good thing. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're cheering or booing. To be quite honest, you put 10 people in a room, the internet has changed the world. The internet has changed the world in that you can find somebody to agree with you on any point.
Yeah.
And that is empowering, right? So years ago, you might not like Hogan, But you didn't want to say that because you're in an arena with 15,000 people going crazy for Hogan. Like,
Hulkamaniacs.
yeah, I don't want to be the one guy going like, I hope Ric Flair kicks your ass, whatever. You know, it was a different world. It was much less acceptable. Now, I think it's why you see big talent 50-50. I think it's why you see gone in some ways the day that a guy is just straightforward one way or the other because the internet has changed that. I don't care what happens in the world. If you go look it up on social media, there's a guy going, this was the greatest thing ever. And right behind it, there's a guy going, I hope this guy dies. Like whatever. It's so, the world is so polarizing. You see it in politics, you see it in sports, you see it in movies. The one critic gives the movie a 1, the next guy gives it a 4. It's
like cool to be a contrarian too.
Yeah, that's part of it as well. So to me, reactions, positive, negative, but reactions.
Anything. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a certain point in time when you start talking about who the top guys are and the top females are. Yeah, we can see ticket trends, and we can see, when you put names out there, you see who sells and who doesn't, and who moves and who's not, and the things that move. And at the end of the day, we're looking to satisfy the masses, not the individuals.
Right.
And
it's hard because sometimes those individuals are so loud online.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Or like in other sports, there's things where like there's the Yankees are the most hated team in baseball or the most popular team in baseball, depending on who you ask. But they're also the most successful team in baseball, right? From a money-making, ticket-selling. I'm making that all up. I don't know if any of that is factual.
It seems right.
It's probably in the ballpark. No pun intended. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's it's hard for people to go, I don't understand why they can't see this guy gets booed. Because it was the loudest thing happening that night?
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's the part that you don't understand.
Not a lot of people know how to run a business, it turns out.
Yeah, I guess. Look, I'll get blistered for this conversation right now. How dare they tell me that I don't know how to run a business? Would you like fries with that?
I don't know how to segue from fries. Seth Rollins has been looking for you.
Yeah.
Does he not know where WWE headquarters is, or what's the situation?
Apparently not. Yeah, no. Look, sometimes you just go to the obvious places, and you go out in front of the camera, and you try to call a guy out, and
yelling at Stephanie
appeal to his manhood that he will come out and fight you like a man. None of that stuff bothers me. Yeah, I'm okay with not getting my suit dirty. And just sitting in the back a little bit.
All right. Well, I hope you don't mind.
But at some point in time, be careful what you wish for.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for today. This was awesome.
It was a lot of fun, man.
Better, and good luck with the UK tournament and all.
Thank you. Hanging out for both days.
Yeah, be here for both days. I ain't flying all this way not to.
Yeah, find me after. Let me know what you think, man. I'm anxious to hear.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool, man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
It is my proud pleasure to present WWE's own Nigel McGuinness. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's fantastic, mate. Lovely to be with you here again. So soon after we last talked, and what a different world.
Yeah, that was last month. Can you believe that?
1 month ago. It just speaks volumes about how you just don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah, we did not predict such things, but we kind of talked about it, oddly enough.
We touched on it, and you just... been fantastic. It really has been fantastic.
Yeah, so tell me your experience from... So WWE gives you a phone call, or what happens?
Yeah, I got a phone call from Michael Cole and called him back right away, of course, and he said that they had this idea for the UK Championship over here, and they needed somebody to do the colour commentary, and I'd been on his radar for a year or so.
Oh, nice.
Unbeknownst to me.
Uh-huh.
And this is, they wanted me to come in and be a part of it, but also had other ideas for me further down the line. It wasn't just a one-time thing. And so I, talked to Delirious at Ring of Honor and made sure that everything was on the up and up with them. And they were super cool in terms of giving me the chance to take this opportunity.
Nice.
And so we moved forward, and it just got the phone call on Tuesday. We had a contract by Friday.
What?
And I think it was the following Thursday, I was stood on the podium in London, England.
Wow. That's a breakneck speed
Just
for
like
contrast,
that.
I feel.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've heard from a number of people that have worked for the company that's how things happen.
Oh, okay.
You hear about stuff and there's interest, and then all of a sudden it just moves in a heartbeat.
Well, congratulations, first of all.
Thanks,
that's,
mate.
That's pretty amazing. What was it like to, because I'm sure you spent some time here when you were younger, right? What was it like to return to
In Blackpool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here and I was 2 years old, so I don't really remember it. We got a picture of me on a donkey. On the
Of
beach.
course you do.
Hanging on for dear life. And then I went on the ghost train as well, apparently. But Blackpool's a wonderful city. It's a little bit cold and grey at the moment, but it's really become somewhat of a gentrified town now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sort of put a lot more investment into it now, finally.
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
And the Winter Gardens, where we're doing the show, is just fantastic.
So beautiful.
Oh, my God. A wonderful venue to be in there. And the acoustics and the history. There are so many, like, British entertainers who've been there. It's funny, we were on the stage earlier in the day, me and William Regal, and I was just sort of humming some Tom Jones songs.
Oh,
And he goes,
okay.
"Oh, you know, he's been here a lot as well."
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So pretty much everyone, you know, from the great classics like Tommy Cooper and Cannonball, all these sort of great British entertainers.
Queen, I think, was like one of their first.
They may be, yeah.
They started a tour here or something.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the tournament. Now, you've actually faced a couple of these guys, haven't you?
Trent Seven's the
I know
only
for
guy
sure.
I've actually been in the ring with.
Okay.
I'm familiar with a lot of the other guys. They were all sort of just getting their start and cutting their teeth as I was ending my career. But Trent Seven, I wrestled him on I think it was my second or third to last match ever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I'd known him for a while. He started his own promotion.
Seems like a cool guy.
He's a lovely fella. He just, you know, he's got the charisma part of it, but he loves the whole sport of it as well, the whole art form and the way that he performs is just this. There's this integrity and this passion, and that, you know, the top guys all have to have. You see it in Triple H, you see it in William Regal, you see it in Finlay. It's a respect for it, but it's a deep sort of understanding and passion for it too.
Yeah. I think you have to have that. I mean, even talking to Triple H, definitely you can feel the passion for just wrestling, just enjoying the art of wrestling still.
Yeah,
And that's nice. So tell me about some of these guys. So you're on the commentary table with Michael Cole. Mm-hmm. How is that working out?
Oh, it's fantastic, you know. I mean, just nothing but positive experience with
good.
him, you know. And it's funny because he's even told me about a lot of the sort of negative reaction that he gets in social
He
media
gets so
from
much
a lot
heat.
of guys.
I don't know why.
Well, I guess he was pitted against Daniel Bryan, right?
That's true. I mean, he's pitted against basically every babyface that he has
Right,
been
you know.
around at this point.
Hey, listen, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't like Daniel Bryan, you're okay with me.
Have you talked to Daniel Bryan since joining the company?
No, not at all. He's
I know he's not much of a phone guy.
He's not
so-
much of a phone guy. Doesn't return texts, but he's always been the same way, you know. So I don't take any offence to it whatsoever.
Right, yeah.
Whenever I see him next, we'll catch up as though no time has passed. That's just the way he is. We once tried, actually, when he first started working here, me and Roderick Strong. We said, right, we're going to try and text him, see if we can get a reply. So we
See who
both tried
gets
to
first.
text him, right? No reply. And then I tried to pretend to be his dog, Asparagus. Like, this is Asparagus. You haven't fed me. And that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Nothing still?
Still didn't reply.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyway, so Michael Cole, it is working out well.
Yeah, it's going really well, and it's just fantastic. You know, everybody here just wants you to be as good as you can. You know, it's how can we help you to succeed?
That's so nice.
It's
That's rare for
fantastic.
any job place, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's because, you know, nobody has that big of an ego to where they're worried about losing their spot, I think,
Right.
perhaps. But, you know, just last night to be out there with him and for him to have the opportunity, and he said to everybody afterwards, you know, he's like, thank you for letting me become a fan again.
Ah.
You know, yeah, the chance to go out there and really cool, you know, just a wrestling match. And, you know, you could feel actually sat beside him at the end of the show. He literally was on the edge of his seat.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that Tyler Bate versus Tucker match. I mean, we both were, you know.
I felt a little bad for Tucker because he was performing so good, and I mean, it's just that Bate is so over.
Yeah.
Nobody was really cheering for Tucker, but I mean, that was a stellar match.
Absolutely. I mean, Tucker really showed something, and that's, I think, the thing about this tournament as well. I mean, all the guys involved, if they do unfortunately go out early, I don't think that's the end for them. You know, I think certainly if you go out there and have a great performance and electrify the crowd, I think there's a great future for people here. And I think Tucker was someone that stood out. Roy Johnson actually was one of the young fellas that was in there with Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Really had a great showing as well. I thought that Pete was going to own him. But, man,
it was pretty back and forth, yeah. I mean, I will say that ending, though, definitely gave Dunne the advantage of the attention card, for sure.
Yeah, well, he made an impact and caught me off guard.
It was pretty shocking. And they did a little press conference afterwards, and, they asked if there'd be repercussions, et cetera, but Triple H was like, but let's be honest, Regal, you're mad because that's something you would have done. So
what did he say?
He was like, well, yeah, I guess so. That's
kind of encouraging it, isn't it?
Right?
I don't know. It's interesting. What'll be really interesting now is with the other guys in the tournament, having seen the reaction that Pete got.
Right.
Do they now try and step up and do something similar?
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you, really? If there's no punishment,
Exactly.
So we'll see. Is there anybody else that was kind of a standout for you then?
I was really impressed with Wolfgang, actually.
Yeah.
That's
the way that he moves. His size guy. I mean, he was doing some crazy top rope action.
Yeah, he's smooth and he's a lovely fella. And to me, that's as much a part of it as anything else. Yes, you're a great competitor, and yes, you can get the job done bell to bell. But it's it's the integrity, and a big part of this, which I can identify with, of course, is that passion of pursuing your dream and learning about these guys and their backstories and how a lot of them really had to fight from the ground up just to step inside the ring. Joseph Connors getting left for dead after getting attacked in a nightclub, losing half of his ear.
Yeah.
James Drake really sort of having to really earn his spot after 4 years of getting stretched mercilessly by all these guys from around the world. All these sort of backstories, when you sort of understand where these guys have come from, it just gives you way more of a respect for where they are now.
Yeah. I think Wolfgang has a school and stuff as well, or is definitely coaching. We have a listener that is learning from him.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So what next then? So now you're here with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still kind of up in the air exactly what will be going on with the UK tournament. The UK belt past this tournament, but I mean, we've got you for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see how it goes tonight. I mean, listen, the feedback on the show last night was off the charts. It was fantastic. Great. Social media.
It would have
afterwards.
To be. Yeah, it was such an amazing show.
Absolutely, and I think tonight will be even better. Now we've got a few less competitors, and that gives them the chance to really focus. Really show their stuff. So I think that'll go great, and then I think people are going to look at the numbers, see the interest, and move on from there. So, like Michael's made it clear, he said, look, you're not here just for the tournament. We've got plans for you in other avenues as well. Nothing specific at this point, but I'm going to be trying to go over to Orlando as much as I can, get in the booth with a lot of guys, Tom Phillips specifically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and just really hone my craft now. I'm going to be doing some voice lessons as well. Me.
Watermelon.
Yeah.
Tom has actually really impressed me. I mean, for a guy who hasn't been with the company that long, he's great on the mic. I really enjoy. So that's cool that you'll be working with him.
Yeah, he's a lovely fella too.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I couldn't be prouder. It was so awesome to be there last night for that moment, and the crowd was so hot for you when you came out, and it just warmed my heart. So it was really, really awesome to be a part of that. And
thank you.
Good luck tonight.
All right, rock and roll. I'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you to Triple H and Nigel McGuinness for joining us on the episode today. But Dale, I want to go to you here because we discussed in detail the UK tournament on Wednesday's episode. But for you to be there live, you hopped over the pond, you hung out with all these thousands of people going crazy. What was the experience like for you?
It was awesome. I mean, it's something that is hard to convey, but just being in Blackpool and in the Winter Gardens themselves, I mean, that venue has so much history to it. I mean, so many different bands have played there. And I mean, you could see it on TV. I mean, that place was beautiful. So you can just feel the history of it, and being in there with that electric crowd was awesome. I do have to give a special shout out. There were several compadres there that made the weekend enjoyable for me, and actually even helped me get from London to Blackpool. Kev Pike, Matty Dunlop, Nick Glancy, Steve McKinnon. Steve actually is trained by Wolfgang, so I'd love to get him on the show at some point and hear how that experience is going. Tom Anstey, our old friend, wrestling buds, and of course, Nigel and Nigel's mom.
You mean wrestling memes? Wrestling memes is Tom Anstey.
What did I say?
Wrestling buds.
Well, they're all wrestling buds, aren't they? But
Of course. They're all wrestling buds.
Careful.
Wrestling underscore memes, Tom Anstey.
Careful. He knows Matt Hardy. He almost got deleted. He'll get you deleted.
That's true.
Oh, God, yeah. Don't get me deleted or make me watch Matt's Child, which Tom had to do as well.
I don't even want to know.
It was a wonderful experience, and I felt like so many guys were made just in 2 days. The WWE really proved that they can take something from nothing and create a storyline that's compelling and get you invested in guys and turn faces into heels and just really get everything on this powerful statement within, 4.5, 5 hours. I was so impressed, and much props to Triple H, Regal, Finn, all those guys down there.
And the beautiful thing about that is, you mentioned about creating something out of nothing. Well, this women's tournament, when it happens, I would argue that it's going to be even more important to the competitors in the women's tournament than even, say, the Cruiserweight or the UK tournament because, just like historically in society, there's been a gender bias in wrestling. So for women to get this opportunity, whether it's 16 women or 32 women, it's going to be huge. And I think the reaction is going to just blow everyone's minds. And I cannot wait for it to happen, hopefully this summer, like Triple H said.
Yeah, I think that WWE has shown that they have the power to make stars and when they find the right talent. And I think that the women's tournament is definitely a proving ground. And they look at how great they've done with the main roster women for 2016. I mean, the mood has changed, and people don't just look for divas or for eye candy as they did, as easily as 10 years ago, definitely. So it's amazing that we can have all this. And it's all really thanks to the invention of the network.
Dale, I agree with you with the WWE having to find the right talent. They do such a good job with this, whether it was with the Cruiserweight tournament or the UK tournament. They're not picking people that don't belong there. You feel like every single person has worked their butts off in the underground wrestling scene to get there, and them being there just shows a big giant check probably off their list of wrestling accomplishments. So I'm very impressed with WWE's digging into that talent pool that we're familiar with, that maybe not the rest of the world is familiar with just yet. So,
and it's been great that I got a chance to go over to England a couple years ago and see with Tom Anstey a Progress Wrestling show, and that's huge there. Progress Wrestling is gigantic, and they created such a scene. They invade WrestleMania and Raw the night after every year, the Englanders, and they make them known that it's like, hey, we love wrestling and it's hot over here right now, so you got to come do something. And WWE took notice. So good on those fans for making it happen.
And now is the time. I mean, think about how many women now are chomping at the bit about this tournament, because there are so many incredible women wrestlers throughout the world that it's going to be an incredible thing to see. And we're very excited. And we thank Triple H for breaking that news on our show.
Also incredible that most of these guys are like 24 and under. I mean, Tyler, who won, is 19 years old. He's actually the second youngest winner of a WWE title ever. Rene Dupree beats him like by a month.
It's amazing. That guy has a mustache I can only dream of growing, and he's 19.
Oh, goodness.
One day, Johnny.
No, probably not one day, Dale. I'm a full-grown man. I can't grow a mustache. Anyways, thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are at Fox Compadres on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/Fox Compadres. I'm at Jay Quasto. Carlyn.
I'm at Carrlyn Bathe.
And I'm at Scott Narver.
And Dale Rutledge.
I am The Walking Dale on Instagram and Twitter.
That's right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Keep chasing your dreams.